coming back to the campuses, one of the few who has not been afraid to speak out is legendary actor and comedian Jon Lovitz, who joins us now. Thank you very much for taking the time to come on the program. Appreciate it. First of all, let me ask you about...
thanks for asking me.
Let me ask you about the professors. You've been focusing a lot on them. You don't feel that they're getting enough attention in this. Talk to us about it.
Well, I saw on, you see videos on X, formerly Twitter, and they showed a guy interviewing all these professors from Columbia going in to support the protesters and asking them, do you think it's wrong about, asking for genocide of the Jews or whatever? And none of them would say anything, or saying, do you denounce Hamas? And none of them would say it, And I don't understand. I mean, Hamas is clearly a terrorist organization. Israel was fighting a war against Hamas. Hamas said they did October 7th to start a never-ending war with Israel, and there was a ceasefire October 6th. There, up to then there was no fighting, and then they did October 7th, and they did it in such a brutal way that Israel had no choice but to get rid of them. And it's basically Israel's in the position of kill or be killed, because Hamas says we're going to keep doing October 7th over and over and over. So what choice do you have if somebody comes in your house and kills half your family, and then says I'm going to keep coming back till they're all dead? Literally, what would you do? Nothing? Or would you fight back? And as Netanyahu said, the world doesn't like it when Jews fight back, and I think people have a right to protest and everything, but you're supposed to get a permit, and then you get a place to do it, and they're illegally, a lot of the protesters are not even students, and they're trespassing on the campus. And also, I felt bad for the kids that are being prevented from going to class.
Yeah.
Because it's just so absurd to me. I mean, I was in college and things were going on in the Middle East and everything, and then to say I'm responsible, I go, hey, I'm 18. I worked my butt off to get good grades, so I get into a good school. I went to UC Irvine. I was a drama major. Now you're saying I'm responsible for what's going on in Israel and the Middle East? It's absurd.
So what do you think? And what do you think the universities?
I don't think the kids. They don't. When you're 18 to 21, you think you know everything, and you don't. You don't know anything. You think you do, but you don't.
What do you think the universities should be doing? I mean, because I've said publicly that I think that calling in the police when they've been given warnings, when they've been told to take down the encampments, give them time. But if they don't do it, you got to call in the police at some point. What is your view of how the universities have been dealing with it?
It doesn't seem like they have been dealing with it. I mean, ask yourself, how do they get on the campus in the first place? Not the students, but the people that don't even go to school there. And clearly somebody's behind this and paying for it and organizing it, and I don't know who, but it's like they don't say anything, they don't do anything. So it's just that's why it's popping up all over, because no one's doing anything. And I don't know, I was raised, if a policeman tells me to do something, I do it. I don't fight a cop. The guy's a policeman, he's the law, and he's got a gun. I mean, you've got to be insane to fight a policeman. It's just nuts to me. And if they tell you to leave, you go. And if you don't go, you're going to get arrested. Well, then, all right, so they're getting arrested. What do they expect? And they're not martyrs.
Have you been getting blowback? Have you been getting blowback for your public position on this?
No, none. No, I got friends thanking me, Jewish people, non-Jewish people, saying, I think it's good you say that, and I don't believe it. Most of the people in the United States, whether they're Jewish or not, they don't think this is right. I don't understand. They go, we're Hamas. To me, that's treason. Hamas stated very clearly their goal is to wipe out all the Jews in the world, wipe out Israel. And then they said there's only so much land mass on the planet Earth, and they want to control all of it. And if you're not with them and their religion, then they're going to kill you. They don't care whether you're Jewish, Christian, or Catholic, or anything else but the way they think. And they want to take over the Earth, not just Israel. They want to take over the whole world. That's their goal. And, of course, they can only do it if you let them do it. But you fight back. Jews, they keep saying Jews are victims. They're always the victims. That's what they say. I go, no, they're not the victims. They built a whole country. And the lies that are being spread about that the Jews took the country. No, the UN created 2 states in 47, a Jewish state and an Arab state. And the Jews said yes, and the Arabs said no. And then the Jews didn't take the land. They had to buy the land. It's called Israel bonds. Golda Meir, the first prime minister, raised the money for a Jewish homeland. They had to buy the land, which was sand. They had to buy it from Arab landowners. And then they say, oh, Israel's apartheid. There's 10 million people. 1.8 million are Arab Israeli citizens. Where did they come from? They were there. And I saw a guy say, yeah, my grandfather said, said this is going to be Israel. And they came to him and said, we want to buy your house and land. He said, I don't want to sell it. They said, okay, but then you're an Israeli citizen. And that's what happened. And that's where they came from. And the guy said, I'm glad. Ask the 1.8 million Arab Israeli citizens that live in Israel if there's apartheid. And they've got the representation on their Supreme Court. And they have a political party in their, Knesset, which is their Senate. And you can't pass things without their approval. So this whole idea that it's apartheid is ridiculous. And the Palestinian, they're not Palestinians, they're Jordanian refugees. And Yasser Arafat in 1964 started the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, and changed their name to Palestinians. So people will go, well, if they not supposed to live in Palestine, why are they called Palestinians? Because he changed their name in 1964. That being said, I have friends that are Palestinian. They're people. I have nothing against them. And they've had 5 chances to have their own country. And, and Israel, they gave them Gaza, and then the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, they had to forcefully pull out a lot of Jewish families that lived in Gaza, and they got them all out, and they said, this is where you can live, in 2005. And in 2007, Hamas got voted in, killed the opposing party, and started building tunnels and going into Israel and attacking and killing Israelis. And they did the same to Egypt. So no one mentions, notice none of these protests say anything about the Gaza's border with Egypt, and Egypt built a solid wall with no doors so that nobody from Gaza can go enter Egypt. And I asked a guy who's an Egyptian, I go, why does Egypt have a wall? He goes, same reason. They come in our country and kill us, kill the soldiers.
I've talked about that.
Why aren't they protesting against Egypt?
I've talked about that numerous times on the show. Jon Lovitz, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the program. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.